Hi everyone, welcome back to the next episode in this series from Rita Berman's new book, and we are going to be doing this picture here today. This I think is the most complex of the four pictures. There does seem to be a lot going on, but I think a lot of it can be simplified, so I don't think it's quite as tricky as it looks. We have like a tablecloth, a sort of background, a teapot and kettle, which I think could easily be matching, so same colours, little book, cupcake, strawberry and some flowers. So I think, oh, and the bird of course, I think we can break it down and it's not going to be too much. The first thing I'm going to concentrate on is our tablecloth. Now I quite like a red and white checkered cloth for a sort of picnic cloth, that sort of thing. So, but do I want to leave some of it white? I think I do. Maybe really pale, like an ivory or something. Let's do that. So let's grab a red. I'm going to use the Signal red. We're using our Holbein pencil. Sorry, always good to remind you of what we're using, just in case you haven't seen any of the other videos. So the Signal red. And I'm actually going to colour over these darker ones with the red, because these would make more sense to be the white or ivory. So I'm just going to get going with filling these in. Now I picked up my new glasses and I've come back to record a video. They're very, very sharp for close-up and middle distance. The far distance is looking a bit odd at the moment, and I've got a bit of a headache having walked back from town wearing them. But I know that's very typical with a new pair of glasses, having worn glasses since I was in primary school, so that's not concerning me at all at the moment. But I'm just going to try. I suspect that when I put them on in the morning it'll be better, because of course today, halfway through the day, my eyes have been used to my other pair, and now they're sort of struggling a little bit. I think that's what it is. But I noticed how really sharp my phone was when I was looking at it earlier. And also this book, which is nice. I'm going to be interested to see whether I do end up getting any blurred vision doing my close-up work at all, or, you know, maybe to start with. But we'll see. At the moment, it's all good. But of course, I've been out, so I've been looking long distance, been actually looking up at the hills. It's actually a beautiful day today. Was sunny and warm. I mean, we had our coats on. It wasn't like summer. But I like a sunny winter day where you can wear a coat, stroll about, enjoy the brightness of the day. See, I can see easily that I've gone out the line there. It wasn't because I couldn't see the line. But anyway, it was a lovely, lovely day. I took my boys with me because they had new glasses to pick up as well. So we had a nice yap while we walked, and yeah, got a couple of other jobs done while we were out, and bought some milk and things like that. And I treated them to a milkshake. They wanted one from the supermarket, you know, they're just fancying a drink. I said, can we have one of those chocolate milkshakes? And I'm thinking to myself, oh, why not? I mean, it isn't really the healthiest choice, obviously, but you know, why not? I spoil them. So we're going to do the ivory, I decided, for the other square. So it's not completely white. I just got to find it. There it is. Yeah, it's the sort of palest of all the colours, I think. It's paler than the cream. Do we even have a cream? Yes, there it is. The cream is very yellowy. So here's our ivory. And I'm just going to fill in. I'm thinking there's probably a bit here, because this paper is white, which is quite rare for a colouring book, or maybe not for Rita's. I'm not sure. Johanna's are always cream, ivory. So if this was a Johanna book, I'd be colouring this in white, but because it's Rita's, I'm doing it in cream. I'm starting to try and decide what colour to do this background. And I'm thinking this might not be a picnic. I'm sort of thinking picnic because this looks like a cloth, but of course it could be a tablecloth. And we could be in a house, in a kitchen, something like that. And I'm thinking if we're not outdoors, then the background here isn't sky. It might be like a painted wall or something like that. it's slightly open to interpretation, as most colouring pages are. So I'm a little unsure because I don't really want to do another blue, because we've done a blue, but we have another sky ish type picture later tomorrow. We have our bunny, but I could do, yeah, I'll have a think, but I need to be careful that I don't use up all the colours that I want to use in the wrong places. So I'm going to do that strawberry next. Here it is. Now, if I was using a hard pencil, like a Polychromos or a Staedtler, I do these little seeds in black first, and then just colour right over it with red. But because the Holbeins are quite smudgy, if I did that, I would end up just smudging the black. Now, we do have a colour here called strawberry, there. But to my eye, that's very, very pink. For me, that scarlet looks more like a strawberry colour. So that's what I'm going to be using. And so instead of colouring the black first, we're going to do the scarlet first and then put the black on top. Okay, it's something to bear in mind depending on the brand of pencil you're using, which sort of order you do it in. Now I am going to colour over the top of those seeds and then hope that my black pencil will sit on top of this one. I'm sure it will. I've just realised there's a bit there which should be red, tablecloth colour. So if you find that once you've done this you can't go over the top of it because you've done it a bit too thick and your pencil won't sort of work properly, you can use a black pen. But yes, as I was saying, it depends on the types of pencil you use, how you colour. Like with a harder pencil, I like to start with my darkest colour and move through to my lightest. But with a soft pencil, sometimes I go the other way because it doesn't smudge so much. It's all a bit of a experimental game, really. This is our black, so do our seeds next. I'm hoping it will just sit nicely on top of that red. Yes, it is. But as I said, if yours doesn't quite look to your, intense enough, or it won't sit there at all, you can use a black pen, something like a Posca or a gel pen, or a water-based felt tip pen. Don't use an alcohol marker. It'll go right through the page and you'll have black dots all the way over this picture on the back. You don't want that. Now the leaves on our strawberry I'm going to do next. I'm just having a look at my choice of colours. I think I'm going to use the colour called evergreen. It looks to me quite like a strawberry colour. I don't know why. Just trying to see where it is. It should be there. There it is. I'm not very used to the order. I'm not sure if I put these in the best order. I think this is the order they were in the box. I get a little bit confused because the pastels are separate to the others and then I'm not sure where to find everything. So this is evergreen. Maybe I just need to use them a bit more. It's a good excuse, isn't it? I'm actually going to use them later this evening. I'm hoping I can get these 2 videos done today, and then while I'm editing I'm going to try them out in Wonderful Wildflowers. There's a page with a circle like a donut shape. There's a name for those circles, but I don't know what it is. I'm going to go back to the Signal Red just to do this bit in here, there, and it's all little flowers, really pretty. And I did one like that in her last book. It had a little fox in the middle. So this is really similar, it just hasn't got a fox in the middle. And I did one like that and I really liked it. And I used Holbeins. So I'm thinking I might try and do the same thing. Now, this looks quite magical behind here. There's these sort of flares, maybe? Is that the right word? Don't know. I think I'm going to go for a few purpley tones. I'm going to start with a bit of sea fog. So we're going into our pastel-y range. So here is the sea fog. And I'm going to use this on the edges. I'm going to do this slightly differently to how I did the others, because the others I did a whole colour on first and then I darken the edges. I'm going to try this in a different order, so I'm going to put the dark colour on first, and this is definitely what I would do if I was using a harder pencil, because I find that because you have to put down quite a lot of colour in order to get a saturated enough look, then if you use your light colour first, you end up saturating too much into the paper and you can't get any more layers of darker colour. So that's why I start with the dark. But with softer pencils, you don't get that so much because the colours are more intense. And I think if you're looking for a pencil that is intense in colour, maybe you've got your hands get sore for some reason or another when you're colouring, then a softer pencil is definitely for you. Or even a marker. Markers are very trendy at the moment. I'm going to go to lilac. Here they are, lilac. The two main brands I see are the Copics or Copics. They're very, very expensive. And then there is, what's it called? There's a cheaper brand. Oh gosh, it'll come to me. Ohuhu, that's it. Ohuhu brand. That's very popular too. I think they might be a sort of a copy. And they seem popular. But I'm sure there are lots of different brands. There's probably some really budgety ones out there. But how good they are, I have absolutely no idea. I've tried a few, I have to say. It used to be Sharpies that people used to buy a lot, didn't it? But yeah, I've tried a few, including Sharpies, but they're just not for me. I'm not excited by them. The fact that I can love the idea that I could put down, say, a lilac base here, and then I could pencil on top and it would be really quick work. But the fact they soak through the paper, that frightens me far too much. I'm just not interested in that. Now, our kettle and teapot, as I said, I think they're matching. Now we're sort of building up a bit of a colour with red and, you know, this sort of tones. So I'm thinking about what colours can I do now to sort of bring it together to match it up a bit. You know, so I'm thinking the flowers, they could easily be pink. I think that would work, but we need a sort of more dull pink, not a fuchsia pink, a Barbie pink. That's not really going to be so good. So I'm thinking maybe the cherry blossom or the ash rose would work quite well. I think I am going to choose the ash rose. This is this sort of orangey, salmony, pinky colour because it's a little bit darker, and because we've got some quite small florals here, it'll be a little bit easier to get a nice intense colour with a slightly darker colour like that. There we go. Now we do have some leaves here as well, which we need to do. And there are some more sort of, what word do I want to use? Subtle greens that are a little bit duller, which I think will match this pink quite well. So I'm going to go for the misty green. I think we may have used it. I don't know actually. So you can see it's a muted, that's the word, a muted colour. And we can use this for the leaves. And also for these little dots. It's going to be quite difficult colouring the teapot and the cup with all these little details, but I thought it would probably be easier if I coloured the details first. I'm not sure if I'm right, but that's my theory. Now yes, we have some leaves here as well. I'm going to do those a different colour, I think. I know on the other pictures I've done all the leaves the same colour, but they're all growing. Whereas these are on items, so it feels to me a little bit different. Now I'm just looking to see what colour to do as my base colour for these two items. I thought maybe a blue, but I don't think I have the correct tone that's going to quite work really well. I then thought peach, but I don't think it's quite right. We could do a sort of brown. Yellow is not going to work. The carnation is a colour that's in my head. It's a sort of pinky, but we also have a coral and a pink, which is sort of salmony. But I'm also wondering whether to just do like a beige type colour. But that's a little bit, yeah. I think I'm going to do the shell pink. It's quite pale. You can see how pale it is. And if it doesn't look right, I can mix something with it, which is what I'm thinking really. So I'm just going to put a layer on really and see if it even shows up very much, and if so, does it work? I don't think there's any tea in the pot, in the cup, so I'm just colouring it in the china colour. Now I'm treating that as if it's solid. Some cups do have a solid handle, but because we can't see the stripes of the picnic blanket through it, then I'm assuming that it is solid. So I'm just working my way around without, we're trying to keep it reasonably even. It's very difficult to keep it completely even. That's very hard, but we can do our best. Keep it as even as we can. Okay, oh, and the handle. Now I feel like I want to do a little bit of shading on there though, just to give it a bit more interest. So I'm thinking maybe a slightly darker peachy colour might work actually. Sorry, I'm just having a sip of drink. I think the peach is too subtle. I think I'm going to go for the sand. It's a bit darker. It's still quite pale. There we go. So I'm going to make it a little bit darker down here on the bottom of the spout. She's just making it look a bit yellowy, isn't it? Not really dark. I'll see how it pans out as I use it across all of the teapot. I want a bit under the handle there and then there. I put in there to make it look like that sort of dipped in, like you sort of pinch it in order to pick up the cup. It isn't as bad as I thought actually. It's okay. I could go darker. I don't think I want to. Just going to leave it for now. Going to have a little look at this book. Now, I'm just having a look at my swatch chart to try and decide what colour to do the cover. I don't want anything... What about... I'm thinking maybe a browny red, but they're quite dark. I don't think I want a blue. I don't think it's going to quite work. Will the coral work, or the... I think I'm going to try the coral. It's quite a dark colour, even though it's one of the pastels. So I'm going to use it quite subtly, you know, quite lightly, so that hopefully it doesn't overtake the whole page. But I think it might just work. Now I'm just going to do the cover of the book, not the pages. I'll probably end up doing the pages maybe in the ivory, because I want them to look different to the paper, you know, this sort of surrounding paper, but I don't want them to stand out too much. Book pages tend to be white, so carefully colouring around our little leaf cluster. Like that. There we go. I think I need burnishing. I'm going to burnish it with the ivory and also do the pages with that as well. So here's my ivory. Because it looks, I can see a lot of paper through. So if I put another layer on top, that will disappear. And if I use the ivory, we won't get more intense colour, a little bit, but not to the same extent as we would if we just did another layer of the same colour. And here are our pages, like that. Now again, I want a more muted colour for our leaves, but different to this one, of course. I think it's got to match that peachy colour. I think the celadon might work. It looks a little bit bluey, but it does come out green, I hope. It looks green in the picture, in my swatch. I hope everyone's okay today. I was trying to figure out how to fit everything in, because I've got these 4 videos and I need a space to put my completed pages in. I wasn't really sure where or how. Now this cupcake, it looks to me like there's this sort of waffle cone, or is it ice cream? So I'm going to do that like it's ice cream cone wafer, that's the word, isn't it, that I'm looking for. So I'm going to start with the light sand, and then I'll add a little more, another colour. So this is a rather nice warm colour. But I think it needs to be a tad more brown, but not really dark brown. So let's have a look. I think a little bit of sand. So that's beige. Oh, we got the sand out already. Yeah, okay. It's just a little bit of the sand on top. Not too much. Now I'm sort of going to ignore the crisscross pattern and just put the colour down. But I might make it a little bit darker at the sides, a little more sand each side like that. Now if this is ice cream, it needs to look like vanilla. We do have a cream colour and it is darker than the ivory, but I think actually a colour like the light sand, but we've used that. Maybe we could use the cherry blossom and do a sort of strawberry ice cream. I think that might be nice. It's this nice colour. Be a little bit different, and it isn't such a muted pink, but it is pale and it's quite far away from the other pinks and things, so I think it'll work. So there we go. Now I think these could be blueberries on there. What do you reckon? Do you think so? Well, they could be red currants, but they wouldn't be very pleasant to eat. I think the grape is a really good colour for a blueberry. Doesn't sound right, does it? But here it is. It's a lovely deep violety colour. And what I'm going to do is go around the edge of this one. Try and fade towards the middle by doing less layers. And there we have it. Blueberries on strawberry ice cream in a little corner. Delicious. Now we have a few other bits to do. The flowers. Now, do we want them to stand out? I'm thinking it's got this sort of slightly purpley colour here, and we've got this blueberry. Maybe you could do them in the purple. We've got a nice wisteria colour. I think I'm going to use that one. It's a little bit darker than the lilac we used in here, so it will stand out a little bit more, which I think will be good. But we're going to do all the flowers in this colour, even though they're different flowers, which keeps it consistent with the other pictures that we've done, where we've done the flowers all the same as each other. So there is that one, and we should do the dots as well, like that. I'm going to do that. And then this one, I'm going to sort of fade it out towards the edge. There we go. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the centre. I have a little think. I've got an idea actually. There we go. Now, over here, we've got a couple as well. Now, are these flowers, buds or leaves? It's a good question, isn't it? I feel like I might do them as leaves just for a bit of contrast, because it's got quite a lot of the purple over here, so it's quite heavy, purple heavy, if you know what I mean. So maybe if we do those green, then they'll look a little bit different. Like that. I haven't done the handle of the pot. We'll get there. Now the centres, I was thinking maybe like a really lightish yellow. Now we have the colour called cream, which is for me almost quite a dark yellow, but I think it will work for these flower centres because I can keep it quite light. There we go. I mean, could do these in this colour too. It's a bit late now for me, but if you're not colouring along this time, I know some people watch the video and then colour along after. So that is those. So now we need a green colour that's going to work. Let's have a little look. It's tempting to use the lettuce green. I think I will. The lettuce green. I've got another one of these. These are in the 12 set of Holbein pastels, the lettuce green. I don't know how they picked which 12 to put in the set, but somehow they managed. I guess everyone has that dilemma, which one should we put in? Yeah, I'm sort of thinking, I'm wondering what Polychromos is going to add, because they're going to add some new colours this year. So they told me. Sounds like I've got a close relationship with them. No, I asked them about something else and they told me that. But then I asked them further questions and they didn't reply. I was being too nosy, which of course I was. Right, the little dragonfly here, I'd quite like to do in a slightly turquoisey colour. There's a colour called jade green, which I think will work, which I need to sharpen. Here it is, you can see it's slightly turquoisey. I'm just going to block this one in though and go out the lines, because you don't have to go out the lines because it's so small. And now we have our bird. Now what colour? Well, we could just do a grey bird. We did our owl grey yesterday, but that's a bit dull, isn't it, to do the same thing again. I'm just looking through my lighter colours. Like I'm thinking, should I do it blue? I really want to, so that's what I'm going to do. This is the horizon blue that I've picked. It's a really, really light blue. Oh, pencil sharpener's decided to close itself. So here it is, the horizon blue, and I'm going to just colour the bird all over with this one. Now, sort of avoiding blue. I don't really know why. I didn't think it would match, but I think it will work. I'll make it work. I've got to now. I think it's just finding the right shade. Do the feet as well. Now, there is a colour called Sky Mist next to this, which is quite a greyish, darkish blue. And I'm going to use this one to put in some shadow. So at the bottom of the face, just want it to be a little bit shadowed, where there would be shadow towards the bottom. I'm going to do the legs darker as well. So a bit of shadow here. Just gently scumble it out and blend it into that other colour, because we want quite a deep shadow here under the wing. Like that. And then I made that quite dark. There we go. Now all we've got is the little hat. And I'm thinking, like my strawberry, I'm going to do a lighter base and then do a darker colour on top just to draw on those little circles. Or alternatively, I could just do it in one colour and then use some white pen to draw on the circles. I will decide which is easier once I choose my colours. What colour hat does a little bird want to wear? It's a good question, isn't it? We could do, actually, I think this colour is going to work really well. I'm going to use the crimson, really dark, I know, but I'm going to use it quite lightly. So here it is, crimson, and I'm just going to put quite a light layer on. I'm actually covering the dots because I'm going to do them in white pen. So there we go. And then I'm just going to do some darker areas on the underside of the hat. And just make it a little bit darker at the bottom and lighter towards the top. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get my white pen out, whoops, and drop it, apparently. Here it is. So I'm going to start off by putting a little dot in here for our flower. One at the bottom maybe. Then we're sort of going to go around the centres like we did on the other ones, but we'll do the hat like that. And then we can put a little tiny white line on our blueberries and on our strawberry to make them look a little more shiny. There we go. Okay, oh, let's straighten that up and put it more in the middle for you. There we are. I'm just going to check them. Oh, I knew I would get that handle. I'm actually going to use this colour, the ash rose, to do this handle. I'm going to put down quite a lot of it at the bottom and a bit less towards the top. There we go. There it is. Now I'm finished. So there it is. Quite a sort of muted colour palette, which I found quite interesting to do. We didn't do that on any of the others, but I did want to make them all look different, so I certainly have managed that. But thank you for watching today. Please tune in tomorrow for the little rabbit. Oh, excuse me. But enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.